My heart, your hearth. Today, we witness things lost to the fire. Today, we carry a new ember. Welcome to Embers, a Whisper and Flame podcast. My name is Michael, and I am the voice that will guide you and journey with you these next 30 days. When your flame has burned down to embers, and all you can do is but whisper, you are welcome here. This podcast is my journal. These are the midnight thoughts I have when I can't sleep. And it's me doing embers for you to see, owning my story in the hopes that you will own yours as well. If you haven't yet, pick up a copy of Embers, 30 Days for Holding What Remains. Visit our website, whisperandflame.store. We have an Etsy shop. We're on Amazon. I'm a former staff pastor at an inner-city homeless shelter. I worked for years as a hospice chaplain visiting the dying. I helped plant a church that welcomed deconstructing Christians before deconstruction was even a term. We called ourselves Outliers, and the church was called the Outlier Project. The OP was dedicated to being a place where people who were in the midst of deconstructing their faith had a place to rest and to be together. We had noticed that many 20, 30, 40-year-olds who had grown up in the church were going through roughly the same experience. Communal faith expressions, sermons, music, rituals no longer worked for them. They had open doubts and cognitive dissonance with the Christian story, with its metaphysical theology, with the Bible, with pastors in pulpits, on and on. But we found that they still valued mystery and beauty. They valued good conversations and gathering together. So we offered a place for that. A good friend of mine who helped plant this church experiment told a story one time when we were debating what we should change our name to. There were so many disparate ideas that we never really settled on a better name than the OP, but I remember suggesting the word prodigal. And I had a whole reasoning for it. Plus, I thought it would be kind of cool to have a church named Prodigal. But my friend said she hated that option. Not only because it sounded like some 80s Christian hair metal band name, which it did, but because when she was much younger, her father told her that she was a prodigal. He felt that she was selfishly running away from the values they instilled in her to go live a life that they disagreed with. And for her, it was too hurtful to be identified in a way that rang back to how her father had dismissed her and invalidated her because of the minimal differences between his outlook and hers. The official story, the prodigal son, is a famous parable that Jesus told to describe how God receives us when we turn and come back to him. The prodigal son was named that by Bible scholars and translators a long time ago, but it's the wrong title. Just like my friend's dad was wrong to call her a prodigal, so are the translators who titled this the prodigal son. The story goes like this. The younger son of a rich man asks for his inheritance from his father early. He doesn't want to be a part of the family anymore. He wants to go live it up out in the world. His father gives him the inheritance money, a really humble thing to do because it was essentially like the kid was telling his dad he wished he was dead so he could have his fortune now. So the kid goes off and blows all his money on booze and hookers and becomes destitute. There's a famine in the land. No food to speak of for the people, and the best the kid can do is work for a pig farmer, and he's so hungry that he wants to eat what the pigs are eating. Now this is Jesus telling this story, a Jewish man telling a story about another Jewish man being in such a grotesque spiritual, emotional, and physical state that he is identifying with the pigs. But even they are too good for the Son. He can't even eat what they are eating. The Son remembers something then. His Father has servants who eat better than this. His Father takes care of those who serve him, so he resolves to go home and become not a son again, but a servant. He humbles himself. He feels true remorse. After meeting the consequences of his actions face to face, he heads home. It's funny because at first it feels right to use the word prodigal as a bad moniker. The son kinda sucks, and he's the main character in the story. The word prodigal means wastrel, or someone who takes and wastes. But the word has a positive connotation too. It comes from the word prodigious. In the negative, it means to waste, to be gluttonous. But in the positive, it means to prodigiously give, to generously and over the top give. And that is the point of the story. Because from a long way off, his father spots him coming back, and he runs out to meet him. And the son says, "I'm sorry. I did you wrong. I don't deserve to be your son, but I'll serve you." And the father says, "My son was dead and is alive. He was lost, and now he's found." He throws a party. The older son gets jealous, and the father is patient and generous with him too. "All that I have is yours. You could have thrown a party with your friends at any time, but my son was lost, and now he's found." The story shouldn't be called The Prodigal Son. It's not about him or the other son. It's about the Father. It should be called The Prodigal Father, because he gives generously and always welcomes us home. My friend's dad, in calling her that, unfortunately showed that he was anything but that generous father, at least in that moment. That's not what a good father does. The Father that Jesus told people about pulls us deeper into his family. He pulls us deeper into the culture that he's creating and wants to share with everybody. He doesn't seek to exclude anyone. It was because of things like that that our outliers had lost their faith. Their parents, their church leaders, the hypocrisy and the moral bankruptcy that forced them out of the fold, the othering that they did, calling people names like prodigal. The connection to God they had in those early stages of beautiful, simple, childlike faith were lost to a fire of Christian making. Along the way, my friends have lost marriages, faced mental illness, been abused by spouses. They've faced cancer and beat it. They've faced cancer and lost. It isn't just their faith or their outlook they lost. So much for my friends has been lost. When the fire came for you, what did you lose? When it came for me, I lost my marriage. From the moment we lost the baby through 13 more years of trying and slowly dying and slowly drying up, bad choice after bad choice, we finally ended things. The ever-growing distance and hollowness in our intimacy came from the promise of a different life now lost to us. And when we faced the fire, ultimately, we lost each other. I know that's a common story. Maybe it's also your story. I think of the Grand Canyon, how it Started as a trickle of water flowing through a crack that turned into a stream and then a river as it carved and carved over millions of years, separating the banks until a chasm opened. That was what my ex and I experienced. A splitting away from one another, every year getting further and further apart, losing now not just the baby, not just the promise of a life we wanted, but each other as well. Over the years, we went to individual and couples counselors. We tried to work on it for years and years, but it just seemed like we were on two sides of a canyon, yelling across to each other, trying to be heard. We couldn't communicate. We couldn't speak to each other without offense and frustration and ultimately contempt growing. And once contempt gets in, it's over. The loneliness, the frustration, the daily miseries of sharing a life with someone you can barely speak to when the going gets tough. And when you need that support, it's not there. That led to terrible places for us. But I can tell you that I love her still. Not in the same way. That way was lost to the fire, but I do love her and really want the best for her. We have a daughter together who made it, though that was dicey at first too. I want her mom to have the best life possible. I realized one horrible day that her best life couldn't be with me. And after years of trying to be her guy, I saw that I was the source of her daily misery like she was mine. And I pulled the plug. I really hope your story is not like mine, that you haven't lost to the fire your connection to the people you love the most in this world, like we did. Whatever your story is, as always, I'm glad you're here. This place is for you. Join me in our breath prayer today. Inhale. I remember. Exhale. What was lost? And one more time. Inhale. I remember. And exhale. What was lost? Thank you for joining me today for Ember 3, Things Lost to the Fire. Pick up a copy of Ember's 30 Days for Holding What Remains. Allow me to bless you as we depart for now. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift his countenance upon you and bring you peace. Join me tomorrow for day 4 of Ember's False Flames. Before you go, remember, even the grave is not godless, but a child's lost and found. You, yes, you are beloved, every scar, holy ground.